topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Barry G. Fowler, EA, brings you Tax Talk for You right here on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. As an enrolled agent and a national leader in tax resolution, as well as trucker, bookkeeping, and tax planning with over 30 years of experience, Barry will break down taxes, bookkeeping, tax planning, and tax relief for individuals and businesses just like you. So let's have some Tax Talk for You with your host, Barry G. Fowler.
Hey, good morning and welcome, man. It's a great day again. It's a Monday. You always start the week off with a great day and a great program here listening to Tax Talk for You. Matter of fact, before we get started, first thing you need to do is go over to taxtalk4you.com and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And you can go back and listen to some of the podcasts we've got out there and some of the other programs you may have missed that you don't want to miss these programs. We got a lot of questions over the last week, and we were trying to figure out what would we talk about in this show. And, Rebel, our producer, was probably upset with me because it took me till Friday, I think, to say, hey, what we're going to do for this show. And being the questions we got and the overwhelming questions that were being asked is, hey, what software should I use for my bookkeeping? You know, we all hear the ads out there and Intuit and QuickBooks is putting out there, and most people are familiar with QuickBooks. They used to have the program Peachtree out there, but is QuickBooks right, or is there a better or different solution? You know, some of those other solutions that we see out there may be FreshBooks. It may be Xero, Zoho, Sage Accounting, Neat, one I haven't heard from, Cashew, and Caro. You know, but what's right? You know, what's the easiest software to use? You know, people go to QuickBooks because that's what they've heard. But Xero is becoming one of the biggest names in accounting software. And so what is the difference between, you know, QuickBooks and Xero? What is the best software, you know, for you? We're going to kind of run down kind of a comparison between QuickBooks and Xero, because they are, like I said, two of the biggest names in the accounting software space. You know, small businesses will use both of these softwares to track their finances, generate financial reports, manage taxes or payroll, or track inventories. You know, both of these have some similarities, and small businesses can get their finances in order using these, but there are some differences, and there are some ways that each software is better than the other. But, you know, what's going to be right for you? Well, I'll tell you what we use later in the program, so you got to keep listening so that you know, hey, which is going to be the right software for you. You know, the first thing everybody looks at is price. You know, if you're comparing Xero and QuickBooks, you can go into Xero for $20 a month. They also give you some promotions during the first 3 months, which will get you about 90% off. Whereas QuickBooks, they're pretty much starting at $35 a month, and then you can get 50% off for the first 3 months with their current promotions. So you can see there is a $15 difference per month. And that could be critical in making ends meet for your business as well. The other thing to consider is users. Now, most people aren't going to need a lot of users in the software, especially small business. You probably need, yourself. Maybe you have in-house bookkeeper, or maybe you're using a bookkeeping service like Trucker Tax Tools. So you may only need, a couple of users. Xero, they have unlimited users. You can add as many people as you want. QuickBooks, they max you out at 25 on one of their advanced plans. So if users are important, that could be a definite difference in which software you want to use. Invoicing and expenses. Both softwares allow you to do invoicing, and both softwares track expenses. Both softwares will have multi-currency support. Now, most small businesses, this isn't going to be a huge deal, multi-currencies, unless maybe you're transporting goods, in and out of, Mexico or Canada. You might have some currency transactions there. Both softwares have some app integration and automation. Both softwares will have mobile applications. Both softwares do reports. And both softwares have training. So you can go to, Xero's website or QuickBooks website and get your training that you need to help you through the software. But there are some differences that make each of their platforms unique and maybe suitable for different applications. So you got to look and still analyze the software. You got the key features that are out there, but we're going to go back over those in a little bit more detail. So your accounting, your invoicing, and your expenses, expense tracking, multiple payment receiving methods, bill tracking, federal and state tax management. Both Xero and QuickBooks can help you easily manage cash flow and keep your accounts, in top shape. You can integrate Xero with Gusto for payroll. QuickBooks, you can manage your payroll with an additional plan through QuickBooks. So, that is something that you've got to consider when you're out there if you're going to be using one software or the other for payroll. So Xero, you would go to an outside service being something like Gusto and then integrate it into Xero. Whereas QuickBooks, you would have to use Intuit's payroll service plans. And then you got to sit down and analyze, which payroll software is better. Trucker Tax Tools, we offer our own payroll service in-house, which is fully managed by us. And then we integrate into our software as we go from there. Xero and QuickBooks can also offer mileage tracking, also offer inventory management. Now, in Xero, you would have to have an additional plan to manage inventory that's not included in their $20 a month plan. And then both of them allow you to do some project tracking. When it comes to basically managing your company financials, my opinion, there's not very many platforms out there that are better than Xero or QuickBooks for that matter. You can look at some of the other ones, but some of the other software that's out there is a little bit more difficult to use to be able to get those financial plans, that you need, or the financial statements you need to run your business properly. So, we're still looking at which is better, which is easier to use for you. Um, I consider it a tie when you're looking at the accounting tools that both platforms have. Now, some of the software in those cloud accounting platforms are easier than others, but it does take time and training to sometimes learn how to use both platforms to the best of the ability of the software that's out there. And so, when you're running the software, you've got to, consider what's easy for you and what's going to make your life a little bit easier as you're moving down the road and using this software. And it could come down to, the type of reports that you can get. Can you modify the reports easily? Things like that you as a user have to learn how to do to get the most information available to you at your own fingertips. And that's one of the nice things that Trucker Tax Tools does. We do it all for you. We provide you those reports that you need in the transportation industry as an over-the-road trucker, and being able to gather that information through a secure portal so that we can make your life easier on the road to manage your trucking business. And it really starts with a phone call to us at Trucker Tax Tools at 877-966-2477 and get started. I mean, our plans start at $25 a week, simple and easy. Hey, when we come back, we're going to continue talking about differences between Xero and QuickBooks, and we're going to talk about bank connections, getting your data from the bank. And we'll do that right after this.
We have only scratched the surface of today's show. Please stand by as Barry G. Fowler will be right back with Tax Talk for You. If you owe the IRS or are going through an IRS audit, don't go at it alone. Call Taxation Solutions Tax Relief at 888-930-1016. We are your solution for IRS debts, audits, back taxes, garnishments, liens, and levies. Whether you're an individual or business, you need a solution and a strong, aggressive tax resolution. Don't let the IRS walk all over you. Stop the IRS now. Call 888-930-1016 or go to taxationsolutions.net now for a free, no obligation consultation. Let's get back to Tax Talk for You with more Tax Talk. Once again, here's your host, Barry G. Fowler.
Hey, welcome back. Talking about bank feeds, bank connections. When you're using QuickBooks or Xero or any other software that's out there, sometimes bank feeds are extremely important. Bank feeds can save you roughly 5+ hours a week, maybe more, using bank feeds and downloading data from your bank, from your credit cards, directly into your accounting software. And creating those bank feeds sometimes is pain-free and can take just a few minutes to do. It does require verification and putting your account numbers and passwords and everything in, and every now and then you may have to go back in and renew them, or if you change your password, you got to come in and update it in either one of the softwares. Now, QuickBooks, it does support banks in 33 different countries, according to a survey conducted by QuickBooks. They say, it saves an average of 10 hours a week. Kind of interesting. Xero, it can connect with over 21,000 global financial institutions. And reports say you could save roughly 5.5 hours weekly. I don't know what the difference is between what QuickBooks survey said of 10 hours per week and Xero's roughly 5.5 hours a week. I really look at it, just really depends on how many transactions you have going through your software and through your bank. And it's going in and making sure that you have the connections um, in either software with the bank. And one of the nice things in software, sometimes you can set up um, processes that will automatically take the data from the bank and apply it to the right accounts and put it in your software. Or if you're actually writing checks out of your software, it will do matching to where it'll match that check to the check that cleared the bank, as long as the dollar amounts and everything are 100% correct. Which, if you're printing your checks from the software, that should not be an issue. But if you're manually writing the checks, uh, sometimes that information could be transposed or put in incorrectly into the software when you're manually doing it. If there's no check there, you may have to manually tell it to enter that check when you're doing your bank reconciliations. Um, so both softwares pretty strong in this category. No matter which platform you use, you can connect your financial institution for the most part and get up to date financial information and streamline that accounting process, hopefully reducing some errors by eliminating the need to manually input the transactions. Um, so this is another tie, in my opinion. And we really look at mostly U.S. institutions, and they're about on par between the two. Now, reporting and the dashboards. Having a user-friendly dashboard in your software, or being able to have good detailed reports, you as a small business owner, um, being able to view the information at a glance is important. Now you can customize the dashboards in Xero and in QuickBooks to show the data that's most important to you. You can add widgets for your checking account, your cash flow, monthly outlooks, upcoming bills, and invoices, to name a few. You can even do comparisons if you put budgets in your software for your business, which in one of our last episodes we just did was on budgeting, business and personal. So go back and listen to that. And now you can use the software to compare actuals to the budgets you create for your business. Now, how about this? This could be really interesting. The price point on some of the software that's out there, if you do budgeting for personal, you can use this software also in your personal finances to be able to see how you're doing versus the budget, so that you can maintain your personal financials right here in one of the accounting softwares that's out there as well. I know it's an added expense, but sometimes that added expense adds value, ease of use, and allows you to look quicker at where you stand, not just budget for a business, but budget in your personal life as well. Whose dashboards are easier? QuickBooks might be a little bit easier to use, maybe have a little bit better design than Xero's, but Xero's are still very functional. It may not offer the glitz and glamour and some of the polish that QuickBooks does, but they're very much functional and can be ease of use. So in this case, QuickBooks actually wins on their dashboard because it's easier to use, more functionality. And hey, some people say it's easier on the eyes. Me, hey, if you design it right, the functionality is good in either system. Integrations and automation. No accounting software, business software is complete without some integrations and support for automated workflows. Xero and QuickBooks both offer it. Xero offers close to 600 different integrations with leading accounting tools, bookkeeping tools, reporting platforms, bills, expense software, and software like HubDoc, and offers things as platforms like payment platforms of, maybe Stripe that's out there. QuickBooks offers 750 different integrations. It includes things like Bill, Expensify, MailChimp, PayPal. QuickBooks is going to offer their merchant processing versus going to Stripe or one of the others that's out there that integrates with Xero. Integrations and automation. Automation helps you handle the mundane chores, freeing up your time and being able to do things that are more pressing, sales, marketing, doing the things that you need to do to continue to grow your business. Automation, once you get it started and once you do it, it's complicated for both softwares to get the right automation, especially when you're using bank feeds and things like that. But once you have it set, both are very powerful. Both become very user-friendly, and both will allow you to reduce that manual data entry because of the rules you've created to handle the reoccurring charges or the reoccurring invoices, things like that. This, again, is a tie. Even though QuickBooks offers more types of integrations, because you're talking about 600 plus companies with Xero versus 750, some of the integrations aren't going to matter. The important ones do. One of the things that you might really take a close look at is the merchant fees difference between the providers that Xero has for payment processing versus using QuickBooks and Intuit to process your transactions as well. File storage. People don't think about file storage, but both QuickBooks and Xero allow you to add files, documents to transactions so you can better understand them. You can attach the JPEGs, PDFs, and so forth, and Word documents and other documents to transactions. You can upload receipts to a bill of lading or a packing slip or any other supporting documents that you need. It's a nice way to keep up with your documents that go along with the bills. It's pretty easy to do it in Xero. Sometimes it's easy to do in QuickBooks depending on how their systems are running at times. Uploading through their mobile app in most cases takes seconds. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. Xero does offer one thing QuickBooks doesn't: centralized file management location, which makes that file management much easier. Xero is the winner in that case. And we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about mobile applications, the differences between Xero and QuickBooks. And we'll do that right after this.
We have only scratched the surface of today's show. Please stand by as Barry G. Fowler will be right back with Tax Talk for You. As an owner-operator, you already spend too much time away from your family. Trucker Tax Tools handles all your bookkeeping and taxes no matter what level trucker you are. Life on the road can be taxing, but that doesn't mean that your wallet or time with your family should suffer. Trucker Tax Tools makes your life run smoothly. Go to truckertaxtools.com for a free guide that will give you the tools to never worry about your taxes again. Call Trucker Tax Tools at 877-966-2477 or go to truckertaxtools.com now and let the experts keep you trucking. Let's get back to Tax Talk for You with more Tax Talk. Once again, here's your host, Barry G. Fowler.
Hey, welcome back. Talking about mobile applications. When we look and compare QuickBooks and Xero, they've got mobile apps. Trucker Tax Tools, we're redesigning our mobile app. And we need your help. If you're a trucker, over-the-road trucker, what are you looking for in an app besides ease of use? Our new app right now is going to make it easy for you to upload bank statements to us, credit card statements to us, settlement statements to us. We're going to refine this to be able to help you track your per diems right there on our mobile app, that hopefully when you leave home and you put your home location in and you leave that location, it'll ask if you started your trip. And if you started your trip, it'll start tracking your per diems until you return back to your home base. That'll make life a little bit easier, being able to track the days, nights that you have on the road, so you can get every dollar of per diem that you have coming to you. What else would you be looking for? We're going to have it connected to our portals so that you can see your financial statements timely. Maybe connected to our software to be able to look at software as we're reporting and being able to access the reports we're going to generate right through the software for you, and be able to answer questions for us right there online and be able to communicate back. But what else as a trucker would you want in your mobile app with Trucker Tax Tools? Hey, message us at support@truckertaxtools.com. Again, support@truckertaxtools.com, and let us know what you'd be looking for in a great mobile app for truckers. We'll even possibly be putting truck parking on there, and other providers to the trucking industry as we continue to grow this app with our partners out there to make this your be-all, end-all app for trucking. Hey, talking about mobile applications with Xero and QuickBooks, hey, who's the best? Both softwares have their Android and iOS applications to allow you as a user send invoices, reconcile transactions, scan, upload receipts, upload documents, images, track payments, monitor your cash flow, and even show possibly your account dashboards to look and make it easier to see what's happening in your business. Now, I've seen it on Xero, and I've seen it be very fluid, very lag-free. One of the differences, QuickBooks does allow you in their mobile app to track trips with GPS, so that if you actually start the GPS when you start your trip, and then when your trip is complete, the application will log your mileage and can generate a detailed mileage report. Now, this isn't for you as an over-the-road trucker tracking your mileage there. You can, because you would have to differentiate between the tracking mileage while out in your 18-wheeler or tractor versus mileage when you're on your personal vehicle running to one of the stores to pick up supplies or parts, or pick up your truck from a repair place. So you would have to differentiate between the two so that we can properly record mileage on your tax return for the use of your personal vehicle, but it would be a good way to be able to do that as well. So mobile apps are pretty even between the two, but you have to give the nod to QuickBooks if you're able to use it for your GPS tracking for personal use of your vehicle. Pricing and value. So when it comes to costs, there's significant differences, and it's going to sway every business a different way. The free trial, both of them are going to give you those 30 days free trial. Yeah, they both ask you for your credit card, and if you forget to cancel, they start billing you monthly. Base plan, you can go the early plan, and it's $20 a month. But you go to QuickBooks, you got the simple start for $35 a month. But in simple start with QuickBooks, you got one user plus your accountant. In Xero, the early plan is $20 a month again, but it's unlimited users. Intermediate plan, Xero doesn't have anything that's intermediate, but QuickBooks does have $65 a month, 3 users plus an accountant. Their mid plan, Xero does charge you $47 a month. Again, unlimited users. QuickBooks is $99 per month. It gives you 5 users and the accountant. Top plans. Xero's top plan is only $80 and unlimited users still. Versus QuickBooks is $235 a month. But it does support 25 users. Now, inventory management. Okay, you will have to buy this module if you're using Xero. So if you're managing inventory, you will have inventory management costs of $39 a month, but you've got to be on the growing plan or the established plans. So that means you got to be at the mid or the top plan for Xero. In QuickBooks, you can track inventory at no extra cost when you're in their mid plan or their advanced plan. That's not going to be down in the essentials or the simple start. Payroll processing. Now, we talked about payroll processing with Gusto. You have to use an integrated provider. Gusto is one of their integrated providers. QuickBooks has its own internal payroll system. Payroll over there is going to cost you $50 a month plus $6 per employee a month. Premium payroll is $85 a month and $9 per employee. And Elite is $130 plus $11 per employee. Now, for payroll services, you're going to have to look at what that covers. Does it cover, filing the quarterly reports, or do you have to make sure the reports are filed? So that is a decision you've got to sit down and make. The Gusto or Patriot software for payroll processing, using it with Xero is one good way of going because it's relatively inexpensive and they do most everything for you, but you do have to go in and process your payroll, which you pretty much have to do with QuickBooks as well. So here's my verdict on this. We're converting everything over to Xero. We've been a provider and user of QuickBooks for many, many years. The cost of QuickBooks continues to increase and rise, and our costs have gone through the roof using QuickBooks. Now, Xero, because it does allow us to use unlimited number of users, it has been fairly easy for us to manage. The integrations have been a lot easier for us to use than what QuickBooks has offered, including things such as just scanning a PDF of a bank statement and uploading it, where Xero will actually put it all together for us. Xero has made it easy. Now, as a small business owner, if you're looking to keep your expenses down, then Xero again is a good value for you. And you should jump over to Xero. After testing both QuickBooks and Xero, both platforms offer strong features. I do not like QuickBooks Online because of some of the things we've got to jump through to do in our industry to be able to work through financials, verifying, making sure they're right. We have found Xero to be easier to use in our opinion, but that's not shared by everybody. Not even every one of my bookkeepers shares the same opinion on QuickBooks versus Xero. But change is hard. If you're looking at it for a mobile app to be able to maintain your accounting or the GPS, QuickBooks has it. So which project management accounting software is best for you? Personal choice. That's really what it comes down to. Personal choice. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to kind of take a quick overview of FreshBooks and NetSuite, and maybe a little bit on Sage. And we're going to do that right after this.
We have only scratched the surface of today's show. Please stand by as Barry G. Fowler will be right back with Tax Talk for You. As an owner-operator, you already spend too much time away from your family. Stop spending time doing paperwork. Go to truckertaxtools.com, a solution built specifically for truckers. Truckertaxtools.com makes your life run smoothly. Let's get back to Tax Talk for You with more Tax Talk. Once again, here's your host, Barry G. Fowler.
Hey, again, welcome back. Trucker Tax Tools, we're developing our own mobile app, and we shut down our previous one because of some issues within the software and the maintenance cost of that mobile app. And so we're developing our current app around gathering information and sending it to us, adding things like per diem tracking, and being able to look at your financials and communication between us and you while you're on the road to make that life easier for you. What kind of things would you be looking for in the app as an over-the-road trucker? Send us that to support at truckertaxtools.com. Again, support at truckertaxtools.com. Or you can go right to truckertaxtools.com, go over there and put in your contact information, and we'll call you. Let's discuss what you would be looking for in a mobile app. And by the way, Trucker Tax Tools is offering a fantastic deal, $25 a week for bookkeeping. Just $25. You're talking about life-changing and saving money. Hey, compare that to doing it yourself just in the software. So depending on which software you're choosing, for just a little over $60 more a month, you get people that are taking care of your bookkeeping for you, doing it on our platform to where you don't have to mess with it at all. Call us today, 877-966-2477. Again, 877-966-2477. Hey, we had a question about, FreshBooks, FreshBooks versus Xero, or FreshBooks versus QuickBooks. FreshBooks is loved by some people, especially small business owners that, don't have a accounting background. It's, fairly easy, makes it easy to get what you need. Um, Customization, I don't feel is quite as good. Um, Workflows and automations, uh, their invoicing is pretty easy to automate, especially if you're doing the same kind of invoicing time again. Price, hey, their starting price about $9.50, $10 a month, um, and then every user you add is $11. So, hey, I've not used FreshBooks very much, so for me to recommend it, I don't see it. Um, the next one was NetSuite, and again, when you sit down and look at it, you're comparing um, a software that isn't used by many small businesses because it does have custom pricing, which means it's a comprehensive solution with advanced features. It has things like CRM in it, ERP, e-commerce solutions, but it is also more expensive and requires a custom, quote. So I don't know that I would jump into, NetSuite as a small business owner, unless of course maybe I'm doing e-commerce and want to embed everything, including CRM, with it as well. The other option was Sage. We've looked at Sage a few different times, but Sage seems to have a lot of different modules. Um, does it make it ease of use? I think people are more familiar with Xero and QuickBooks. That it makes it a little bit harder to show people or train people uh, on how to use Sage. And, when you look at Sage's website, there's really not pricing on there. You've really got to fill out a form, get a quote. So it makes it hard to say, hey, this is going to be the right way to do it. So, you've got to sit down and really look at it. If you're in the trucking and transportation industry, again, I urge you to use Trucker Tax Tools and go to truckertaxtools.com. But if you're a do-it-yourselfer, Xero is a good way of doing your bookkeeping so that you can have financial reports there at your fingertips. But you can't go wrong if you were to use QuickBooks as well. I know our staff sometimes has trouble using QuickBooks online. We prefer the desktop version, but many people can't get the desktop version anymore, and they're pushing everybody to the online versions of their softwares. And Xero is hosted only in the cloud, so it's not a desktop version. But if you're an over-the-road trucker, having access, anywhere you are, as long as you have Wi-Fi, doesn't hurt you whatsoever. So, being in the small business zone, go through and do your own analysis. Look at the software, look at the comparisons, see what each one of them has to offer before you decide this is where I want to be. If you're doing invoicing, you have to realize it's going to cost you more than $20 a month. And especially if you're doing a lot of invoicing, if you're only doing maybe 4 or 5, then that $20 a month is something that you can get away with. But if you're processing 10, 20, 30 invoices every single week, then you've got to look at that mid-base plan. And I would look at the mid-base plan in either QuickBooks or Xero before I would jump off into the base plans, at that. So Now, what makes life easier? Software. Whether you choose FreshBooks, Xero, QuickBooks, Sage, NetSuite, whatever the accounting software that you have out there that you choose to run your business through, that software makes life easier. Using a bookkeeping service that is built for truckers, around truckers, like Trucker Tax Tools, makes life even easier for you because all you're doing is submitting to us your settlement statements, your bank statements, your credit card statements, your cash receipts. We work with you to make sure that we find every possible deduction there is out there. And if you go to Tax Talk for You and you subscribe, you can go back and look at all of our podcasts. You can go to iHeart, Spotify, all the major sites that host podcasts we're on, and you can look at Trucking 101, where we talk about truck bookkeeping, trucker taxes, what to do and how to save money on your taxes, built around the trucking industry. Hey, I think next week I'm going to be talking on Landline Media's podcast, OIDA's Media Center, and talking about what receipts to keep and other information for truckers while you're on the road and over the road, and best way of doing the bookkeeping. So make sure you look for us with Landline. We'll get that out when that's going to be played so that you can hear that broadcast with Landline Media. And don't forget to tune in every Monday right here on Tax Talk for You, W4CY Radio, Talk 4 TV, and keep up to date with what we're talking about to help you run your small business or larger business. And maybe you got 2, 3, 4, 5 trucks. We do bookkeeping for you as well to help you run your business better. Help you find every deduction that you have. We understand how important you are to the transportation industry, that you are important to keeping this economy running. That is why our team is dedicated to you in the trucking industry. Tax knowledge is important. Understanding truck driver taxes is just important. You need experts in this business. So go to truckertaxtools.com. Now, if you got an IRS problem, Taxation Solutions Tax Relief is the company to go to. Go to taxationsolutions.net. Find out what we're about and how we can save you money on your tax debt. How we can get the IRS put behind you so that you don't have a tax problem, and we can save you money. Hey, one other thing. If you're a W-2 truck driver, bookkeeping and taxes isn't that important to you because you're a W-2 driver. But maybe you're thinking about getting out and being an owner-operator, running a business by yourself. OOIDA, Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association, runs a fantastic seminar through their foundation called Truck to Success Seminar. I speak at it every October. Go to OOIDA, put in Truck to Success, do a search there, get signed up so that we can see you in Blue Springs, Missouri in October at Truck to Success. Or if you've been a trucker and looking to expand and want to know what it takes, another great seminar to go, Truck to Success. Sign up there, come and join us. Hey, again, thank you very much for tuning in. Share this with all your trucking friends that are out there so that we can communicate and save you money on taxes and teach you what you need to know to maximize your profit, minimize your tax, and be the best owner-operator business owner there is in the country. Thank you for tuning in. Subscribe at taxtalk4u.com. Have a God bless, glorious week. We'll see you next week, 10 a.m. Monday, right here on taxtalk4u.com. Thank you.
Are you an individual or business that wants to understand taxes and how they affect you? Are you looking for specific tax advice for self-employed, business owners, and truckers? Are you behind on taxes and your bookkeeping? Are you dealing with the IRS and ready to have some relief? Then you need Tax Talk for You, hosted by tax and trucker expert Barry G. Fowler, EA. Tune in 10 a.m. Eastern Time every Monday right here on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Don't forget to check this and past episodes at taxtalk4u.com. See you next week at W4CY.com.